morning, KU, and happy Friday. My name is Zach Newkirk, and I'll be your host this morning on GMKU Sports. It's been a jam-packed week in the sports world, and we're going to tell you all about it this morning. We've got a great show for you today, and we'll cover many topics, such as KU basketball, football, and soccer. We'll have a roundtable discussion about college football. We'll look at an NIL update from Ulicia and a recap of what's been happening in the NITO ATP Finals with Colton. And lastly, Olivia will give us a look at what the weather will look like next week. Let's get things started and kick it over to Jack for a recap of KU's impressive win over Michigan State in the State Farm Champions Classic.
Thanks, Zach. Kansas basketball defeated Michigan State in the Champions Classic on Tuesday 77-69 in what was a historic night for head coach Bill Self. Coach Self is now the winningest coach in the history of Kansas basketball after getting his 591st career win at Kansas, passing the great Phog Allen on Tuesday. There were a lot of different storylines for this game. Two Hall of Fame coaches facing off in what could be their last head-to-head battle, Michigan transfer Hunter Dickinson scoring off against his old rival, and firepower all over the court. Or you would think. Both teams started the game ice cold from the field. At the under 8 media timeout, the score was 8-8 with both teams shooting under 30%. The only player who looked ready out of the gate was Dickinson. He started the game by scoring the Jayhawks' first 8 points and put himself into a position for a monster night. Well, his monster night continued. Michigan State head coach Tom Izzo decided he wasn't going to double team the preseason Big 12 Player of the Year, saying, "We weren't going to double Dickinson. Not many people I've seen have doubled Dickinson. We did everything we wanted to do in the scouting report." An interesting tactic from Izzo, but Kansas took advantage of it and continued to utilize his mismatches to create easy offense. Post-ups, pick and rolls, dump downs, putbacks, left-hand hooks, right-hand hooks.
Kansas really needs to move the ball because this is not
Dickinson finished the night with a season-high 28 points and 12 rebounds to secure Coach Self's record-breaking win. Outside of the big man, Kansas struggled to create offense. Without Dickinson, the team shot an abysmal 31% from the field. Even the guys who have been creating and making shots all season couldn't find the bottom of the net on Tuesday. Zeke Mayo went 2 for 8 from the field and didn't make a single shot from behind the three-point line. DeJuan Harris, KJ Adams, and David Coit all combined for 21 points, 12 of them coming from the free throw line. The trio shot a combined 4 of 18 from the field and had to find other ways to make a difference on the floor. Freshman Flory Badunga played a vital role as well. Badunga was getting additional minutes because of KJ Adams' questionability to play against the Spartans. Though Adams did start, Badunga played and showed out in his 12 minutes on the floor. Badunga finished the game with 6 points on 3 different rim-shaking dunks. He created a lot of energy for the Jayhawks in a building where Michigan State, Kentucky, and Duke fans outnumbered the lacking Kansas supporters. It was not the best showing for Kansas, but it was good enough to make Coach Self a record breaker. The Jayhawks will be back in Allen Fieldhouse tomorrow evening to take on Oakland at 5 p.m. If you can't make the game, it will be streamed on ESPN+. Now, I'll hand it over to Jack to talk about Kansas football's best plays of the season.
Thanks, Jack. With only 3 games left in what's felt like a long, but also short KU football season, I thought this would be a good time to look at the top 3 plays from this season. Although this season didn't go in the direction most of us thought it would, there's still some moments that stand out. Without further ado, here are my top 3 best plays by the Jayhawks this year. Starting things off at number 3 is this 58-yard bomb from Jalen Daniels to Luke Grims during our first game against Lindenwood. I don't know about you guys, but I thought this was a great moment to kick things off for the season and had me hyped for what was to come. An all-around great way to show off our offensive weaponry. At number 2, give me this 38-yard rush for a touchdown from Savion Morrison against K-State. Morrison is someone we don't get to see a lot of. In a game against a very solid K-State team, where fan expectations were low coming in, this really set the tone of, hey, we came here to win. Beautiful job and a great game that I wish could have ended differently. Finally, at number 3, we have this pick 6 from Mello Dotson against Iowa State just last weekend. This broke the game open and left no doubt that we were going to win. This is another game where I think fan expectations were a little low coming into it, and the Jayhawks went out there and played the way they should have all season. Now Mello holds the record for most career interceptions for touchdowns out of any current player in the nation. Just incredible. Now over to Caden with an update on KU soccer.
Thanks, Jack. Kansas women's soccer has been tearing up the pitch as of late. The Jayhawks have won 8 straight, a streak that is second longest in the nation, all while collecting their second Big 12 championship in program history. That championship victory punched the squad's ticket to the NCAA tournament for the 10th time in school history and the first since 2018. 4 Jayhawks were named to the All-Big 12 tournament. Junior forward and team leader in goal, Lexi Watts, sophomore defenders, Caroline Castens and Olivia Page, and sophomore goalkeeper, Sophie Daw. Under first-year head coach Nate Lee, Kansas has raised itself from the depths of the Big 12 Conference and back into national relevance. The team is now more than triple last year's win total and received its first national ranking since 2021 last week, coming in at number 16. That ranking comes with an upcoming matchup in the NCAA tournament as the Jayhawks will square off against number 8 seeded St. Louis in the first round. Kansas leads the all-time series against the Billikens 5-1-1 and has won the past 3 matches. St. Louis is 14-5-1 in the season and fresh off a 7th straight conference title. The Billikens haven't lost a game since September 1st. The first round matchup will kick off at 7 p.m. Central Time tonight in St. Louis at Herman Stadium. Next up is our host Zach to preview the show's later segments.
Thanks, Caden. KU is one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and I sure hope they can continue their hot streak tonight to advance in the tournament. Coming up after the break, Colton Ryan and I will give you our thoughts on the best teams and players in college football.
Here we see an ordinary man on an ordinary day, when suddenly, trash appears. What would you do if you were in his shoes? Would you be a bad citizen and simply ignore the trash? Or would you be a good citizen and pick the trash up? Here we see a trash can, a good citizen's greatest weapon. A good citizen will see litter, pick it up, and throw it away. Become a good citizen today.
Knocks it down from distance. MP's got 12, and a big question mark for MP.
All right, welcome back, everyone. It is mid-November. The college football season is wrapping up and the playoff talk is heating up. We have made it to our second week of playoff rankings. The bracket's out. Guys, what do we think about this week's edition of the rankings?
Yeah, once again, the college football rankings are out. One of the most interesting matchups that catches my eye is 8 seed Tennessee versus 9 seed Notre Dame. Now, this matchup isn't set in stone because Tennessee plays Georgia, so with the win, they'll probably move up, and with a loss, we could see them fall out of the college football playoffs. But I think that's the most interesting matchup in Tennessee. Notre Dame coming in. They have 3 ranked top 25 wins this season, so they are used to the hard competition. Tennessee also has a couple good wins of their own, so far, I think that is the most interesting matchup of this week's college football rankings.
Yeah, so one matchup that I really think is interesting is Alabama-Indiana, if that holds true. Now, Indiana does play Ohio State this week, so some things could change around there. But in my mind, Alabama is really strong, even though the rankings don't say it as much. I think Alabama could take down Indiana in this matchup. I don't think Indiana is maybe as strong as they may seem. They are undefeated still. But I think Alabama is really the stronger team. And if this matchup were to happen, I think Alabama could get that win.
Yeah, so for mine, all due respect to Boise State, they've had a phenomenal season. But if we're looking ahead, Ohio State versus Miami in the quarterfinals is the one I have my eye on. You know, we've seen the Buckeyes really struggle, defense really struggled to shut down like high-powered offenses. You know, they really struggled in Eugene. The last couple of years, they had trouble stopping Michigan and Georgia. This would be really interesting. I think, Cam Ward has had a Heisman-like season, but tough loss for the Canes last week. That'll be really interesting. Ohio State, still have a makeshift offensive line. Miami's defense not great. That'll be a fun game. And we all remember what happened the last time these two met in the postseason. Maybe the most controversial call of all time. So that would be an interesting one for sure.
Yeah, I think, like you said, Ohio State will beat Boise State pretty easily. Boise State's schedule hasn't been that tough. They play 3 easy matchups coming up, so I think they will make the CFP, but I think they'll be at that 12th spot. And I think Ohio State will actually defeat Indiana as well. So the highest they can go is 5 because I think Oregon will win the Big Ten. So I'm pretty intrigued. I don't think Miami's that good. So I think Ohio State really has a cakewalk to the semifinals.
Yeah, so something we could talk about here. Who is your guys' team to watch or last team in, sleeper team that you think could make a run and get into the playoff?
I have my eye on Colorado and Texas A&M. I know the Aggies did get smacked at South Carolina 2 weeks ago, but they have that big opportunity. You know, the first game they played against Texas in over a decade at home at Kyle Field. That'll be really interesting. That could be the game that gets them into the SEC championship game and in the playoff conversation. That's the team I have my eye on, and Colorado. You know, I think they're the favorite to win the Big 12 right now. I think they'll do it. You know, I think they have the most high-powered offense. I'm not sure any Big 12 defense can really stop them at this point. They've been playing really good ball. So, yeah, what do you guys think?
Unfortunately, I do think you are correct with Colorado. I think they'll win out. I think they'll beat KU in a couple weeks at Arrowhead. So I think Colorado will win the Big 12. They'll be in the CFP. I don't think they'll make too much noise in the playoff. But one team I have my eye on is Penn State. They're slated at the 6th seed right now. They're slated to play Ole Miss. Ole Miss, all they really have to do is win out to stay in the CFP. So I think if Penn State can host a playoff game, I think they will win. It'll be electric in Penn State. Hopefully it is a night game so we can't see the whiteout. So I think Penn State can make some noise in the CFP.
Mm-hmm. And my team to watch is actually going to be SMU. They are just out of the playoff bracket right now, but they returned almost all their players from last year. They look great this season. Their only loss has come to Boston College, who has been a pretty solid team all year. And I think they can win the ACC, realistically. It's not going to be easy, but I'm not super high on Miami. I think SMU might just have what it takes to pull it out.
Yeah, and you know, lastly, what are you guys' national championship predictions? If the season ended today, who you got winning it all in Atlanta?
I know it's a boring pick, but I think Texas will come out on top and win the national championship.
This might be also a little boring. I like Ohio State. Now, I'm not super high on Ryan Day and his ability to win big games, but this roster is top down, incredible. And I think if he's going to do it one year, this is going to be the year.
You know, I got the Oregon Ducks. I think they win their first national championship in program history. You know, they've had the most consistent quarterback play out of all the top contenders. Dylan Gabriel has really turned it up. He's been dynamite for the Ducks. They've gotten better as a team in all facets of the game throughout the season. That's a really encouraging sign. And I think they match up well with Ohio State. I think that's who they're going to have to get past if they want to accomplish their goal of winning a national title. And I think they will. I think their wide receivers match up well with that Buckeye secondary. We saw them tear them apart in Eugene. I think they'll do it again in Indy. And we'll see if they do it again in semifinal or national title or if they meet. And I also think Dan Lanning has really grown as a coach throughout this year. You know, last year we saw him make some really reckless decisions, notably in the Washington loss. I think he's learned from that, and he's been great all season for the Ducks. I think they have a great coaching staff who is ready to win a national championship.
All right, and that's all we have for you today for the College Football Playoff Roundtable. After the break, we'll have an NIL segment from Ulicia.
Okay, let's do this.
Welcome back from the break. Just yesterday, according to Bleacher Report, Michigan is pursuing a major recruiting offer to flip Bryce Underwood's commitment to LSU. Michigan has stated they are prepared to pay the 17-year-old quarterback up to $10.5 million over 4 years if he drops his commitment. Underwood is the overall prospect in the class of 2025, coming from Belleville, Michigan, and received a total of 32 Division I offers from schools such as Colorado, Alabama, and Notre Dame. Now, the kicker is that the University of Michigan is currently in hot water and is looking towards Underwood to bring positive fortunes to the team amongst current NCAA investigations that hold many layers. The school is currently under investigation for stealing signs from opposing teams in an organized fashion, recruiting violations including interpermissible contact with student athletes during the COVID-19 pandemic, and whether or not former head coach Jim Harbaugh, currently coaching the Los Angeles Chargers, violated recruiting and inducement rules during his time at Michigan. While the school is still under investigation by the NCAA, Harbaugh's case has come to a close back in August. The coach was given a show cause order banning him from coaching college football for 4 years. There are two sides to every story, and Bryce Underwood has a big decision to make on his end. The school's current investigation may hold weight against their football program's reputation, but $10.5 million is the largest offer ever made in NIL history. However, it appears he has hinted at already making his decision. Taking to Instagram just yesterday, he seemingly taunted Michigan with his LSU jersey. Though he may still flip in the future, it appears he is all in with LSU as of now. That's all I have on recent NIL coverage. I'll go ahead and pass it over to Colton.
Thank you. Now, with the 10-month-long tennis season coming to a close, there are now only one more thing to play for, and that is the ATP Finals tournament. This tournament hosts the 8 best players in the world, and they all battle it out one final time this season. The 8 players who qualified for this tournament are world number 1 Jannik Sinner, French Open and Wimbledon winner Carlos Alcaraz, world number 3 Alexander Zverev, Australian Open finals Daniil Medvedev, U.S. Open finals Taylor Fritz, world number 7 Casper Ruud, U.S. Open quarterfinalist Alex Demir, and world number 9 Andrei Rublev. Now, pool play matches started on Sunday, November 10th, and that's when we saw Jannik Sinner breeze by Alex Demir. Sinner beat the world number 7 in straight sets, followed by Taylor Fritz smacking down Daniil Medvedev in straight sets as well. Now, the next day, the tournament favorite Carlos Alcaraz lost but Casper Ruud in 2 sets, which was a really bad loss for the world number 2, who most likely won't make it to bracket play following that loss. After that match, it was time for the reigning Paris Open champ to take on Rublev. Zverev has the second most wins on tour this season, and he sailed to victory, winning 6-4, 6-4 in both sets. Now, the next matches were a lot more competitive. Here we saw a rematch of the U.S. Open final between Sinner and Fritz. Just like in New York, Fritz played spectacular, but it wasn't enough to beat the 23-year-old Italian. Sinner broke Fritz in the 10th game in both sets, securing the 6-4 victory twice. Following that match, Zverev defeated Ruud in 2 sets, all but solidifying himself in the bracket play. Now, bracket play begins tomorrow, where we will see American Taylor Fritz face off against Alexander Zverev. We've seen this matchup 4 times this season, all 4 times going Taylor Fritz's way. Italian Jannik Sinner stamped his way into the next round, but he is waiting to see who he will play. Alcaraz has to win his match in straight sets to advance to the next round, and if not, Sinner will play number 8 Ruud. Now, it's been a historic tennis season so far, and all we can hope for is some more history in the next couple of days. Zach, back to you.
Thanks, Colton. It's exciting to see the ATP Tour come to an end and see who can claim the title in what has already been an exciting year in tennis with the majors and the Olympics combined. After the break, we'll have our weekly weather update from Olivia. Stay tuned.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
Good morning, Jayhawks, and welcome back to Good Morning KU Sports. Taking a look outside right now at Topeka, it's really clear skies. We're experiencing nice sunny weather today. In Lawrence, we're looking at a temperature of about 54 degrees and sunny. Our winds are relatively calm at about 8 miles an hour, and we're really going to be experiencing these sunny skies throughout the rest of the day. We currently have a nice ridge pattern that's across most of Nebraska, Kansas, down through Texas. So we're experiencing no clouds, and we're not really going to see that until we have this next little system that's going to be pushing through our area more tonight and into tomorrow. Then we're going to start to see more clouds. But as of now and for the rest of today, we're just going to be seeing some sunny skies. Our temperature will increase a little bit. We're expecting the high temperature to be around 67, and then the temperature will start to decrease as we enter the evening hours. Now, as for our low tonight, we're going to look at about a low of 42. It's going to be mostly clear skies. Our winds are going to be a little bit quicker, and we're actually going to start experiencing some gusts that are associated with that new trough pattern that's going to be coming through. So gusts could be around 20 miles per hour this evening, and those gusts are going to persist throughout the day tomorrow. We're really experiencing some gusts of about 30 miles an hour, especially in the morning, and then temperatures will also increase a little bit. We have a lot of sports tomorrow. Volleyball will be happening around noon, and we have a basketball game at 5 p.m. There is a chance of showers that might occur around the 4 p.m. time frame. It's a really small chance though, but be aware of that if you are going to be attending the game and standing outside in line. As for our football team, tomorrow evening, they're going to be at BYU, and it's going to be a cold one. This is going to be the coldest football game we've had all year. Temperatures are going to be right around freezing for most of the game, but conditions will be well for football. Now, taking a look at our future forecast, we are expecting another weather pattern to come through Sunday night into Monday mostly. Now we're expecting some heavy showers with this. There could be some downpours and some locally heavy rainfall. Accumulations are expected throughout the area, but that'll then push off to our northeast into Tuesday morning. This really though won't impact any of our sports. Our only sport that could be having an issue today is women's basketball. That will be on Sunday. There's a chance for showers that day, but again, we're really not expecting much of anything for the rest of our sports, which is a great week for Jayhawk sports. And taking a look at our 7-day forecast, we're really expecting to have warmer temperatures both today and tomorrow. There's going to be a bit of a cool down associated with those showers and storms on Monday, and then temperatures are really going to start to fall off throughout the rest of the week. We're going to be experiencing some 40s for our highs, and our lows could even dip down below freezing by the end of next week. Zach?
Thanks, Olivia. Though we're already halfway through November, the weather has surprisingly been somewhat enjoyable and not too cold, making attending outdoor sporting events a lot more enjoyable. Well, that's all we have. Thanks for tuning into this week's Good Morning KU Sports. Make sure to check out Playmakers today at noon. Enjoy your weekend, and as always, rock chalk.